In this series, I discuss the 10 most highly transferred in FPL players for the upcoming game week and whether you should consider swiping left or right for them. Starting off with the 10th most transferred in player, and it's Jack Grealish, who's been bought in by just over 160,000 FPL managers. Grealish has performed pretty exceptionally since his loan move to Everton, registering 4 assists already this season. His next fixtures are West Ham and Palace at home, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him pick up a couple of returns over those 2 games. However, he's unavailable to play in game week 8, and then following that, he's got a very mediocre run of fixtures spanning all the way up until game week 18. For me, he's an avoid, unless you're planning on going for a 2-week punt. Mark Guehi has returned in every game but one so far this season, with a goal, assist and 3 clean sheets. Whilst Palace are looking somewhat lightweight up top, in defence they've been really solid, and it doesn't surprise me that he continues to get heavily transferred in by FPL managers. The main cause for concern when bringing in Guehi is his upcoming fixtures. Liverpool, Everton, Bournemouth and Arsenal in his next 4 doesn't fill me with much hope in the clean sheet department. Whilst he's a good budget option, I do think there are better 4.5 to 5 million defenders to go for in the game currently, and for that reason, he's an avoid for me. In at number 8 for the most highly transferred in players is Richarlison, who's been brought in by 168,000 managers. I personally think the Brazilian forward is a really interesting option who's currently being massively overlooked. Spurs are scoring plenty of goals at the moment, and with Solanke struggling with injury concerns on and off since before the season began, Richarlison seems to be one of the most nailed players in their forward line. He missed out on a start in game week 4, but I think a large part of that had to do with him returning from international duty. In my own FPL team, I'm on a wild card this week, and Richarlison is in my squad, which of course means that I'm swiping right on him. Iliman Ndiaye has currently been transferred in by just under 170,000 FPL managers this week, and I'd expect that number to at least double by the time the game week 6 deadline rolls around. He's really impressed so far this campaign, and Everton's forward players on the whole are really gelling well as a unit. Their upcoming fixtures include facing West Ham, Palace, Tottenham and Fulham at home, and I think there's a fair few attacking returns up for grabs for Ndiaye across those games. He seems nailed to start, has good goal and assist potential, and he's even chipping in with the odd DEFCON points. For that reason, I have to swipe right on him. The joint highest scoring player of the previous game week was Ryan Gravenberch, who bagged a goal, assist and DEFCON points to give him a total of 15 FPL points. The Liverpool midfielder has started and played the full 90 in every match since game week 2, and he's scored 2 goals, which is 2 more than he scored throughout the entirety of last season. I think the reason why he's been so highly transferred in is purely due to a knee-jerk response from a number of managers based on his performance last week, and I personally just can't see that form continuing at all, especially given Liverpool's numerous options in attack and their relatively tough upcoming fixture run. Tijani Reinders is somebody who I decided to start the season with, and I'm over the moon that I did. In my opinion, he's without a shadow of a doubt the best midfielder to go for within his budget price range. He's played every minute so far this season, and he's playing a very advanced central role in City's midfield, often finding himself the second highest player up the pitch behind Erling Haaland. He creates plenty of chances, but also makes numerous runs in behind defensive lines, and with Rodri back in the squad, I think that only boosts his appeal as an FPL asset. Man City have 5 very tasty looking fixtures around the corner, so I have to swipe right on him. Reinders' teammate Donnarumma has currently been transferred in by just over 250,000 managers ahead of his home fixture against Burnley. Donnarumma came straight into City's starting lineup following his move from PSG, and he's definitely impressed in his opening couple of games. When going for Donnarumma, There is an argument to say that at any moment, Pep could switch things up and decide to start James Trafford instead, but I think for the large part, Donnarumma has cemented his place as the number one. I'm really on the fence about this one. There are definite clean sheets up for grabs for City over the next 5, but I just think for that much money, David Raya is a much better option, and for that reason, I'm going to avoid him. Alongside James Tarkowski, Marcus Senesi is the only defender to have picked up DEFCON points in each of his first 5 matches. With that taken into account, and the fact that Bournemouth have a pretty favourable fixture run all the way up until the midway point of the season, I can totally understand why Senesi is being so heavily transferred in. He's the second highest scoring defender in the entire game, and given his budget price tag, he seems like the perfect defender to include in your squad. We also saw him chip in with a fair few goal contributions last season, so we know there's potential there as well. Yeah, there's really not a lot not to like about this one, so I have to swipe right. With 360,000 transfers in this week and counting, Antoine Semenyo takes second spot. As I just explained, Bournemouth have a decent fixture run all the way up until the new year, and even with teams like Man City, Chelsea and Man United in the mix, you wouldn't put it past Semenyo to return something in those games. The Bournemouth midfielder has been on fire so far this season. He's really been a standout player with 3 goals and 2 assists. In fact, he's the top scoring midfielder in the game currently, and even though he's already had 7 price rises, I still think he's good value for money. The only argument against him perhaps is, are there better midfielder options to go for in his place? And personally, I'm not convinced that there are. In at number 1 is of course Erling Haaland for his home fixture against Burnley. Hundreds of thousands of managers are bringing in the Norwegian ahead of his favourable fixture run, which includes 3 home games against Burnley, Everton and Bournemouth. I've owned the City striker in my own FPL team since game week 1 this season, and he's not let me down. I've heard a number of managers discuss that it's a no-brainer to triple captain Haaland this week, and personally, I'm not so convinced that he returns big against a team that's bound to set up with such a low block. I think that he generally gets more returns against teams that take the game to City and leave space in behind the back line, like Man United did a couple of weeks ago. Even so, there's no question about it that he'll be my captain for this upcoming game week, and of course with that, I'll be swiping right. So what do you make of my decisions? Do you agree or disagree? Let me know down below. And if you haven't already done so, make sure to check out the Differential 11 video for Game Week 6. And as always, best of luck in hitting those big green arrows.